Good afternoon. I'm Faye Kuzman, and I'm the horticulture agent with the Woodford County Extension Office. And today we are out here in Woodford County harvesting some trees for a mushroom cultivation class. The mushrooms we are going to be doing are shiitake, lion's mane, and oyster. So we'll be showing you what logs, what type of wood to cut for those species.
Hi, I'm Joe Lacefield. I'm a private lands wildlife biologist, and I often help Extension with some of their workshops. Today we're going to be selecting some trees for a mushroom cultivation class, and we're looking for oak right in this particular area for shiitake. Oak will do best for shiitake, makes better fruiting conditions. So generally, when you want to cut these, you want to cut them about 30 inches. But if they're a larger diameter, like at the base of a tree, like this guy, you might want to cut them 24 inches because then it's not too heavy to move around easily. If you're wanting to force flush them or put them in water, you just don't want to hurt yourself trying to move logs from one location to another. So that's the real reason for making them whatever length they are. It's not a requirement that they be X number of inches. We're talking about tree species that we're going to select for growing our mushrooms. Shiitake generally prefer oak. They do best on oak. They will grow on many hardwoods, but for longevity, oak is the number one. Shiitakes will also grow on maple. This happens to be a black maple. Many people would just assume it's a sugar maple, but it's a black maple. You can see it has smooth bark compared to the oak. This is a chinkapin oak, and this is the chinkapin oak leaf, and this is the maple leaf. Maple has opposite branching. Oak has alternate. Learn your tree species and you'll learn to find wild mushrooms as well as grow cultivated mushrooms.
Hi everyone, I'm Faye Kuzman with the Woodford County Extension Office. I'm the horticulture agent here, and we have Joe Lacefield, a private lands biologist for Fish and Wildlife. And today we are going to be drilling holes to put in plug spawn for shiitake mushrooms. So how we do this is we're going to partner up, so we have one person holding the log and one person drilling.
Very good.
Okay.
The holes are going to be approximately 4 inches apart. That's basically your hand width, and we'll stagger them somewhat around the log to increase the mycelium colonization of the log.
Okay.
I'll drill those when we flip the log around if you want to. Yeah, that's fine.
Welcome to the next segment of our series. In this one, we are going to be showing you how we put in the plug spawn.
Not everyone has access to a high-speed angle grinder to drill their holes like we just demonstrated. A regular drill will work just fine, a cordless drill or a corded drill. However, for the 1/4-inch dowel spawn, you'll want a 5/16 inch drill bit. And you want to mark the depth with a piece of tape so that you don't drill it too deep or too shallow. If you drill it too shallow, your plug will mushroom when you go to hammer it into the log.
Okay, so we just hammered those down to where they are flush with the log.
And for the class, you want to make sure all your logs are drilled before you start hammering any of the plugs in. So I've had the wax in my pocket so that it warms up a little bit. It makes it a little easier to spread. This is the wax that you don't have to heat and melt, although those types can be used as well. But you're basically going to get some on your finger and firmly place it on the plug lid, or the end of the plug, sealing the hole. And sometimes you'll have extra. You don't want the plugs to be sticking up out of there. The wax is to keep foreign fungi from moving into the log and to keep the plugs from drying out and the mycelium dying before it colonizes the log. So as far as maintenance of your logs and keeping them viable, you want to make sure you place them in a shaded area, hopefully under deciduous trees, where they get plenty of rainfall. If under a drought condition, for example, you might want to hose them every once in a while so that the logs don't get too dry. And you can notice that if the ends get really cracked and check open, it might be getting a little bit too dry for newly inoculated logs. If you want to flush them after they've established, colonized the log, the mycelium will be little white spots on the ends of the log. At that point, you'll know it's fully established, and you can then force it to flush when you want some mushrooms. You can do that about every 8 weeks within normal temperature ranges. So usually in March, I'll start flushing a few logs by soaking them in water for 24 hours. I have a tub that's basically big enough to submerge them. You can put weights on them if you want. You don't necessarily have to do that, but after they soak for 24 hours, I like to then put them in a tub with a little bit of water in the bottom of the tub, and I tent plastic sheeting over it so that it increases the humidity. It also decreases the bugs that might try to get in there, and the mushrooms will develop in a few days. And it takes them a few days, depending on temperature, to fully develop for harvest. It normally takes a year for a log to become fully colonized and capable of fruiting. Remember, the mushroom itself is just the fruit, like an apple on an apple tree. The organism is the mycelium in the log. And after a year, you'll get your larger flushes. And usually it's more than a year before you can fully see the capability of the log.